Hello, everyone, and welcome in to crushthestreet.com. Man, I have a treat for everyone today. Returning guest, legendary investor Jim Rogers is on the line with me. He's an author, chairman of Rogers Holding and Beeline Interests. We're going to be talking about the economy today and especially how it pertains to 2018 and where we are right now. Jim, thanks for coming on the line with me.
I'm delighted to be here, Kenneth. Let's see what's going to happen.
You know what? 2018 seems to be the year where we might see inflation start to kick in for the U.S. Recent news was China's holdings of treasuries have greatly collapsed, with $66.4 billion in net sales of U.S. treasuries. I'd like to get your thoughts on this trend that we're seeing.
Well, I suspect that everybody in the world should be selling U.S. treasuries. You know, we've had a bull market since 1981. That's 36, 37 years. It's coming to an end. It's going to come to an end someday. Whether it comes to an end or not this year, we'll find out. But it's more likely to be ending than the beginning. So if I were everybody, I don't own any long-term U.S. treasuries. Everybody should be selling them for economic reasons, as well as any other reasons that they might have.
Well, I'm wondering if you think that it has to do with Trump and his sentiment towards China and all that he had said during the campaign with the weak dollar, you know, China currency manipulators. Do you think it has anything to do with Trump being the president that we're seeing this sell-off in treasuries?
Well, obviously, Mr. Trump is not making good friends in China with some of his actions. The problem, Kenneth, is, as you know, Mr. Trump has said many things and then contradicted himself the next day or the next week or the next month. He promised us repeatedly that he was going to have a trade war with China starting his first day in office, and Japan and Mexico and a few other places. He has not. I'm glad he hasn't. But who knows what Mr. Trump has in his mind? He certainly doesn't know what's in his mind because it changes all the time. Yes, maybe the Chinese are saying we should start being protective. But if I were the Chinese, I would say, no, I'm going to wait until I need to play the card now, you know, to start selling the treasury bonds now. If they need to take an action, they won't have any bonds to sell. They can't threaten because they don't have them. Now, at least if they owned a lot of treasury bonds, they could say to America, if you do that, we're going to sell your bonds. So I don't think that's their reason for doing it. Maybe it is. I think their reason is doing it because they're making good economic decisions, good investment decisions.
Sure. One of our very own fusion analysis here at Crush the Street, Trader Steph, I know you're not a technical guy, but she is someone who's saying that 1380 is a significant number to watch for gold. There's just a confluence of resistance and, you know, some technical levels there. And we're seeing gold break out pretty significantly into 2018. It's happening fast. I mean, within the last 30 days, we're seeing gold really surge. Are you getting a sense that 2018 could be a breakout year in gold?
Well, any year could be a breakout year in any asset. I'm not convinced that it's going to be a breakout year, as you point out. I think there's still opportunities in the future for gold to be bought lower, but who knows? Yes, it's been 7 years since, or almost 7 years since the high. Sometime in the next year or two or three, I certainly would expect for gold to make a low and then to start going higher and higher and higher. There's no question, Kenneth, that before this is over, the price of gold is going to be extremely high and will probably even certainly going to get overpriced. It might even turn into a bubble of its own.
You know, it's a thing with bull markets. A lot of times they start and they leave a lot of people on the sidelines. And my worry is that we are going to see gold, and we're seeing gold stealthily move higher. It's been really a stealth move from its low in 2015 up until where it is now, and it just kind of shocks people. It surprises people every time it moves a little higher. And of course, the latter stages of the bull market are really when those gains start to take off. And the nature of bull markets is that many people are shaken out and are on the sidelines. What are your I guess in your experience of being an investor, what is your advice for people in regards to gold?
Well, my basic advice for gold is that everybody should own some gold as an insurance policy, if nothing else, because you have a fire insurance policy, you hope you never use it. You have medical insurance, car insurance, you hope you never use it. Everybody on the same basis should have some gold as an insurance policy against their country, their currency, their economy, their everything. So that's the first thing. Then, if you're any good at your timing, just time it right. Now, I'm not very good at time. I own gold. I've owned gold for 40 years. Let's see, yeah, it's over 40 years now that I've owned gold and haven't sold any. I give gold away periodically, but no, I own gold. I'm not very good at timing, but I've owned gold. I've never sold any, but I haven't bought any for a while. I'm waiting for a good opportunity to buy gold again.
Well, it seems like the yuan is potentially about to surge against the dollar. The dollar index is also hitting a new 3-year low in Asian trading, and gold is above $1,340. Do you suspect the yuan to gain strength against the U.S. dollar going forward here?
Well, frequently, as you just pointed out, when gold goes up, the dollar goes down, and vice versa. When the dollar's up, gold is down. And likewise, obviously, other currencies, if the dollar is strong, something has to be weak against the dollar. And if the dollar is weak, something has to be strong against it. I own U.S. dollars. My second largest is in Chinese renminbi, Chinese yuan, because, they have gigantic reserves. They're not a debtor nation. The U.S. is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. So the fundamentals certainly favor the Chinese renminbi going forward.
And I want to get your closing thoughts here on oil. Oil has come off significantly from its late 2015, early 2016 lows. We're seeing oil in the $60 range here, and some analysts thinking could go as high as $80 a barrel in short order. And I want to get your thoughts as to why this might be happening. Is it a strong perceived U.S. economy, tightening global supplies, rising demand, and the implications of this going forward?
Well, in my view, oil is making a bottom. It's a complicated bottom. We're going to look back someday and say that in 2014, 15, 2016, 17, 18, oil made its bottom. I have no idea which day or which number, but it's going up and down and forming out, tracing out a bottom. Known reserves of oil everywhere continue to decline except for fracking. The fracking bubble burst a few years ago. There was a time when if you could spell frack, people would give you money to use, to invest. Now, of course, people know that fracking is not magic and that people can lose money in fracking. So we're making a bottom because reserves everywhere else are declining, and eventually prices are going to work their way much higher again. I don't know if it's going to be 80 soon or not. I don't really know. Maybe people should listen to you to find out. But I do know we're tracing out a bottom, and that oil is going to be much higher eventually. And that does not mean, if there's a war, who knows? If there's a war, we'll all be begging to buy oil at 80. At 100, we'll be begging to buy oil. But short of a war, we're forming a bottom now.
So in the political landscape, I know I said that was going to be the concluding question, but in the political landscape, things are pretty crazy here in the U.S., and I assume the news is the same out in Asia. But I just want to kind of get your thoughts as to, your feeling towards President Trump and, what he's been able to do in the first year of his presidency. Has it been a net positive for things going forward and inspiring at least some optimism in the right directions with the tax cuts and, the things that he's been able to do?
Well, tax cuts are always good, no matter what the country, no matter what period in history. You can spend your money better than the government can. Japanese can spend their money better than the Japanese government, etc. Tax cuts are always good for any country, any economy. So yes, that's good. I'm not. He hasn't done much else. He says he's eliminated a lot of regulations. I don't know because I'm not, I don't deal with a lot of regulations on a weekly or monthly basis. He says he has. But beyond that, I mean, he's certainly done other things. He eliminated TPP, which he says is good. I don't think he ever read TPP. But one thing it has done, it is turning Asia over to China. He's making China great again, because when America pulled out of Asia, that left a vacuum, and the Chinese are filling that vacuum. Is that good for America or bad for America? We'll know in 20 years. We'll know in 10 years. But that's certainly one action he has done. But other than that, he pulled out of the climate agreement, but it looks like he may be coming back into that. He says he's going to eliminate the Iranian agreement. I don't think he's read any of these. I don't know where he gets his advice or his direction, but I'm not sure he's really done very much other than the 2 or 3 things we've just discussed. So is he good or bad? I don't know. Certainly, tax cuts are good. There is no question about that. But beyond that, I mean, he promised us he was going to get rid of Medicare. He hasn't done it. He promised us he was going to build a wall the first day. He hasn't done it. We can go on and on for many things he promised, which he has not done. Maybe he will. Are they good for America? I don't know. I know that pulling out of TPP has been fabulous for China and bad for America, because it's left the whole Pacific with 3 billion people open to China, and America's losing out. So some of the things he's done I know are not good for America. He may think they are and disagree, but we'll see.
Jim, I'm 30 years old, and I'm just curious. Have you ever seen, in the history of watching the presidential races or just people in office versus the mainstream media, have you ever seen the two positions at further polar opposites ever in your history of just witnessing the political landscape?
You mean with the press versus the president?
Yeah. Is this the worst it's ever been, or have you seen it like this in the past?
No, it was worse when Nixon was president. The press despised Nixon, hated. I don't think there was any journalist who liked Nixon. Obviously some Republicans who did, but the press hated Richard Nixon. John F. Kennedy, for a while, until he got shot, the press was very down on Kennedy. People forget that now because, once he became a martyr, everybody loved him. Let's see. Well, Lyndon Johnson, during the Vietnamese War, he resigned because the press hated him so much over the Vietnamese War. That actually led to his resignation. Trump is not going to resign because of what he sees in the press, that's for sure, that no matter how much the press dislikes him. Let's see, Jimmy Carter, the press tormented. He lost the election because he was so despised in the press. Reagan was not despised. He was despised by some people, but not many. Older George Bush, the press, he was not too popular, but he wasn't hated. Clinton, the press liked Clinton for some reason. Little George, the press did not like at all. Obama, the press did like. I know Trump likes to say that the press has never disliked a president as much as they dislike it, but that's not correct. In my lifetime alone, that's not correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Rogers, Jim Rogers, the legendary investor himself. Jim, thanks for coming on Crush the Street. If people want to learn more about you or reach out to you or just learn about the things that you're putting on and you have to offer, where can they go and what will they find?
Well, I don't have anything to sell. I have a few books to sell, but I have a website, but there's nothing there except, well, I guess my books are listed, but no, I don't have anything to sell. Because you can find me on the internet at times, but people like you are the best way to find out what I'm doing.
Thank you for coming on Crush the Street.
My pleasure, Kenneth. Just do it again. Thank you.